On July 4th, DJ Akademiks released a new video of Lil Tjay on FaceTime with some family and friends from his neighborhood. Allegedly in this video, Lil Tjay is talking the exact same as he was before the incident. It was mentioned in the report that Lil Tjay is making significant progress in his recovery after the rapper was affected by firearms. Sources familiar with TJ's situation told TMZ that he is awake and alert. He even said on FaceTime that he is okay and is going to get through this with no issues. With Lil Tjay now being awake and alert, law enforcement are now trying to communicate with him so they can get details on the surrounding incident. Now, with the police gaining information on the incident, there was a leak in their court files. In this leak, they showcase photos of Muhammad K, the main suspect in this incident, being involved in a few of A Boogie with the Hoodie's music videos. In the report, it was mentioned that Muhammad has ties with A Boogie. He's also a close member in street teams within Highbridge, where A Boogie with the Hoodie is from. The Lil Tjay vs A Boogie beef has been going on ever since Lil Tjay's quick rise to fame, with both artists having a very similar sound while being from different camps within New York. It sparked a lot of issues with A Boogie, as at the time, A Boogie with the Hoodie was the much bigger artist in the industry. Now with Lil Tjay kind of taking over that spot as the king of New York over A Boogie, things have gotten ugly. Now it all started in February 2020, where A Boogie tweets, "Light bet, keep on trying to sound like me without showing love. And I'ma start to sue ya. For real though, this is getting out of hand. I'm not trying to knock nobody's hustle, but I'm just sick of the craft y'all bringing to the table, making this boring." Now Lil Tjay would then go on to tweet his reply to A Boogie, saying, "People be mad when it's the next person's turn to shine. Move out of the way and watch me win." Now it wasn't long after till a short clip was released to the internet. In a stairwell where Lil Tjay was living at the time in New York, he did a small interview. Lil Tjay was asked in the hallway, "People out here are trying to say you're the next A Boogie clone." Tjay replies, "Me personally, I don't try to copy anything. There will always be rumors made, but I ain't a clone." Now the Fed's report on this situation highlighted something concerning about the Lil Tjay situation. On early morning on June 22nd, news outlets were reporting that New York rapper Lil Tjay was in an altercation where firearms were used. Now with two different stories being released on what happened, here's what really happened to Tjay and how A Boogie and his camp are truly involved. According to reports in Edgewater area of New Jersey, Lil Tjay alongside two friends named Jeffrey Valdez and Antoine Boyd were ran up on in a Chipotle parking lot. As Tjay and his two friends were inside of their vehicle, suspect Muhammad K, age 27, ran up on Lil Tjay while driving in a white BMW with another driver. Holding a firearm near his waistband and stepping out of his vehicle, he walks up to Lil Tjay's window, demanding to give up his diamond-studded Rolex alongside his chains. As Lil Tjay and his boys refuse, Muhammad K is then seen raising up his firearm into the window, where it was visible to Tjay, and demanding once again for his chains. Lil Tjay denied once again. A small argument then starts building up before Muhammad K uses his firearm towards Lil Tjay. Allegedly, one of Tjay's boys in the background made a sudden move, which made Muhammad K start using his firearm towards Tjay and company. Lil Tjay, being the closest one to Muhammad as he was at Tjay's window, took a majority of the damage. One of Lil Tjay's friends were also affected during the situation, but not nearly as bad as Tjay. The third person that Lil Tjay was with then brought out his firearm, starting to retaliate against Muhammad, defending his two boys, especially Lil Tjay, who was clearly seen in very bad condition. Muhammad was then seen falling to the ground as Tjay's boy allegedly connected a few while Muhammad was trying to get back into his vehicle. With Muhammad falling to the ground, he was then covered in mulch that was on the grass, and his shoes ended up falling off. Those same pair of sneakers were were left at the crime scene for the feds to later pick up. With Muhammad on the ground, the driver of the BMW hops out of the car, grabbing Muhammad and dragging him back into the vehicle, where he was then later dropped off at the local hospital. Meanwhile, an ambulance was already on the way to help Lil Tjay and his friend. Bubba, Lil Tjay's friend who was affected as well, got out of this with no serious damage done. Now, it was obvious that Lil Tjay was the main target. While waiting for an ambulance, Valdez and Boyd tried calming down TJ. Thankfully, the ambulance arrived and started to save TJ, which was successful, which TJ was then airlifted to a hospital in serious critical condition. Thankfully, paramedics and doctors were able to get processes done fast, which upgraded TJ from critical to stable. Now, in the official arrest report, it states that Muhammad K was quickly found to be guilty of this crime. In New York City, there's cameras everywhere. You can't really commit a crime like this without being caught these days, but Muhammad, he made crucial mistakes. Now, as mentioned earlier, Muhammad K was affected by TJ's boy allegedly. While in the process of running, his shoes fell off and then he fell into the mulch that was near the curb. With his shoes being left in the parking lot and him being covered in the same mulch as the crime scene, when he was dropped off at the hospital, they left quick notes on his sheets saying, "What is going on?" They write, "Muhammad K, affected by firearms, covered in mulch, no shoes." Then, with the feds getting their own report at the crime scene, they find a pair of shoes on the ground, mulch that was covered everywhere on the cement, and they know that there's a man at the hospital who was just affected by a firearm. This made this case an open and shut case, which is great news. Muhammad is being charged with attempted armed robbery, as well as firearm offenses. Now, here's where it gets interesting with A Boogie being involved. Now, the streets are starting to reveal the truth about what happened. Everything I just mentioned is records from the police, but here's where YouTuber Hassan Campbell comes in. Popular YouTuber with connections in the streets got a different word of what happened, so follow along. Now, he mentions the police are covering up the entire thing for the hotel property that this happened on. Hassan mentions that Lil Tjay was sitting in a parked vehicle outside of a hotel in New York. Inside of this hotel was a Chipotle, but it is the hotel's property, but on the police reports, they say it's a Chipotle parking lot. Now, Lil Tjay was sitting in the parked car with only his cousin Bubba. The third friend actually wasn't in the vehicle. Instead, the third friend was upstairs in a hotel room. This third friend was using the restroom at a very convenient time. When the situation broke down, he stayed in that bathroom and didn't leave, which is pretty interesting. Now, the suspect Muhammad, who initially ran up on Lil Tjay, wasn't affected by a firearm from Lil Tjay's crew. Instead, it was his own crew that he was trying to snatch Tjay's chain with. Hassan mentions there was multiple men with firearms trying to catch Lil Tjay Lackin, embarrass him on video, and snatch his chain. Now, one of them accidentally did it to Muhammad. Muhammad was still the front man, walking close to Lil Tjay's window and demanding the chains. When demanding the chains, it lasted a little longer than expected. This is when Lil Tjay's friend he was with then made a sudden movement, which made Muhammad use his firearm, as Lil Tjay was not budging on giving up the chain. When Muhammad was using his firearm, it must have scared one of his boys that he was with, which then caused him to use his firearm against Muhammad. Now, this is when Muhammad fell to the ground, and one of the suspects, most likely the man who did it, went to go pick up Muhammad and dragged him through the bushes into their vehicle. That way they can drive away. Once being dragged to the vehicle, he went through bushes, which is how his shoes fell off and he got covered in mulch. Now, all while this is going down, Lil Tjay's third friend is still in the bathroom inside of the hotel. This raises the question of, was Lil Tjay targeted? Did Tjay's friend set him up? And this man that did the crime, Muhammad, is he friends with the man in the hotel room? It is no secret that Lil Tjay and A Boogie with the hoodie have had beef going on ever since Lil Tjay came into the industry. And with Lil Tjay rising up through the ranks in the music industry a lot quicker than A Boogie right now, is there some sort of jealousy? Now, Hassan is very connected to the streets. Personally, I believe him more than the feds in this situation. Leave a comment down below on what you think.